the biz.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Jay Graham for What's the Biz 559. We have a special guest for you today. This is Juan. His company is called CValt. They are in the cannabis industry, and we're going to learn a little bit more about his business today. So, welcome.
Oh yeah, let's get it, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me out here.
No doubt, man. No doubt. It's been a long time, man. I've been wanting to get you on here, you know?
Yeah.
Busy man right here.
Yeah, appreciate the invitation, man.
Okay, cool. So we just want to learn a little bit about you today, you know what I mean, about your industry, what you do, and, celebrate what you do too, man, because you're very successful in your industry, you know? So we want to pick your brain and see what we can learn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so first of all, like, were you born in the Central Valley or?
Yeah, I was born in Sanger, back when they used to have a hospital out there. I was born out there, moved out to Texas for a few years, or my parents did, and then we came back to California when I was like 9. So been here ever since.
Yeah, and so when you, I know a little bit about your background. You know, I know that you had a secure job, right? And what made you want to branch off into the business world? And was it already in you, or was it an opportunity that you seen while you was working, or you always had that entrepreneurial spirit, or what made you even want to get into business?
I think I've always had that entrepreneur. I just knew there was a lot more than just working, you know what I mean? Clocking in and clocking out. For me, I think it started back when, my dad and my mom used to go out to work in the fields, and, we didn't have no sitters, so they'd take us along, and I'd watch them, break their backs for, little to, close to nothing, you know what I mean? And I would always see they call them mayordomos, the leads out there just kicking back, not doing shit when, all the field workers were busting their ass in the heat. And I'm like, since I must have been like 14, 15. And I'm like, nah, this ain't it. Like, if he's not doing anything, like, you know what I mean? And they're getting paid more than the people that are, out here busting their butts.
Something's wrong.
So, ever since, I think from a very, very young age, I just knew that there was more than just what was handed to you. So,
and I think that's great, because a lot of people might take it a different route by being mad about that and go the illegal route, taking it out, frustrations out. But I love when hearing like somebody educated themselves or started a business and took that drive to push them to the next level, man. That's amazing. Yeah.
Your current situation isn't your final destination, so you just gotta be aware of that and do some soul searching and just learning about yourself. And I think that had a big part of just breaking out of that matrix, the clocking in and out, just reading, these self-development books. That's probably the main key right there. There's a lot of information out there.
Yeah.
You just gotta zero in on the information that's gonna help you grow as a person, and that definitely helped me out.
So was there a person that kind of sparked that in you, or was it just purely on what you seen and with your parents, and you knew like, hey, I want more? But what gave you, like, I remember it was a book my parents gave me after I graduated, and it was called The Power of Vision, right? Mm-hmm. It's the first time I even considered anything outside of just, I thought I was going to play basketball. I thought I was going to do music, you know what I mean? So that was the first time where it's just like, oh, there can possibly be more. Like, was there anything like a defining moment that you remember where it was just like, this person told you this or gave you a little nugget and made you wonder what that is or go further with it? Or
I think for me it was a book called The Third Circle Theory. I believe that, I know that's the very first self-development book I picked up. I'll never forget it.
I never heard of that one.
Yeah, The Third Circle Theory. Fuck, I need to revisit that book actually, but I know that kind of did put a lot of things in perspective as far as looking at yourself from a third person perspective. Whenever you do that, you kind of stop being a victim.
Wow.
And you kind of see it as this is where I'm at, almost
Right,
like Grand Theft Auto. You kind of look at yourself from that perspective.
Yeah.
Like that's where this person's at.
Yeah.
It's a very good book. I need to revisit it, but from what I could remember, it was that's a big part of it right there.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you was looking at yourself from a third person perspective, because you was working at Saputo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Saputo is a big thing in this town, right? Like, so that wasn't good. And like, what, was that not good enough when you was looking at it in the third person? Because most people, the reason I asked that, because most people are like, hey, I'm here, I made it. I remember before that, that was where everybody was aiming for, was to get on a factory or, CO or, something with the prisons or something like that. Those are the top-notch paying jobs out here, So what, was that not good enough at the time when you was like, I want more? Or
so, CValt wasn't the initial business. I'll trace it back to even before I started working in Saputo, and whenever before Saputo, I was working at Marquez Brothers, which is another cheese plant. Before that, I was pretty young. I was maybe 19, 20. Me and another friend, we had rented out a spot up in Squaw Valley. It's a little bit more up north, and we ended up growing a shitload of plants. I'm young, and we grew a lot of plants, harvested, and I was stupid with the money, so I fucking bought a few cars, motorcycle. But point being, from that point where we planted the seed to where we harvested, that's the first time I ever had employees. Was whenever we hired trimmers to trim the weed. Yeah. And so from that point, I can never look at a paycheck the same. Wow. Because it was, I built something with my hands. Right. From scratch. Like I was working at a packing house, and with the money that I was getting from the packing house, I was paying for the rent, and it was all outdoor, so there's not a lot of overhead. So, but yeah, I trace it back to them because that's where I, kind of looked at money differently. Right. While I was working at Saputo, the Central Valley Alternative, which is CValt. It's just CValt's just a shorter version of Central Valley Alternative. That's when I fell in love with turning $1 into $2. So I just fell in love with like doing that over and over and over again. And Did you think that at that time, because it probably wasn't the laws of right now, right? So did you foresee that it was going to be to the point we are now, or was it just like because we know in the culture a lot of times it's like that's all we got. You know what I mean? We got to make it happen with this. Or did you foresee it like, look, I'm gonna do this now, but I'm gonna be a pioneer in it, so when it does hit, we're gonna be established. I'm just talking about at first. I know you probably got there somewhere down the line, but at first, did you see that, or was it more so like, man, this was? At first, I think I knew it was. I knew something was working. because the revenue was increasing, customers, there was just, but as far as like, seeing an endpoint, it was very hard to see. I was just focusing on, what was in front of me at the time.
Yeah.
And then, then it started growing bigger and bigger to the point where it's like, okay, where is this going? You know what I mean? And that's, kind of where the perspective got a little bit bigger and kind of like foreseeing things and just looking further ahead. You know what I mean? So it just kind of, I just grew with the business.
Yeah. And it kind of just led its own way, huh?
Yeah.
Dang, that's amazing.
I think it was just not giving up because, a lot of people would have given up at the sight of the first failures. And I think, that's the only thing. You just keep on staying in your lane, just keep on doing your shit, and eventually, something clicks.
So when you first started, how long was it that you were still working at different jobs? 'Cause I know you went back a couple other jobs, right? Mm-hmm. So how long was it that you were still working? And when did it come to a stop to where it's just like, you know what? Like, or what made you come to a stop? You know what I mean? So
as far as working?
Yeah, like so when, like, how long was it that you were working and then doing the cannabis thing on the side, and then when did it flip?
I was running into the issue to where I didn't have time to go meet up a vendor in LA because my shift started at X time. Right. So I needed the inventory because that's what keeps the engine running. Yeah. So I had to make the decision of like, shit, I think it's time. You know what I mean? I'm already paying, I'm able to pay my bills and, so it was kind of, that was my, my jump, whenever I was able to pay my bills and still work within the business, like that was my cue to like, hey, you gotta. How
long you think that time span was before, if you had to guesstimate?
I want to say a good year and a half, maybe.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
it just got to the point slowly.
And so was it a process? What was the process like going? I imagine you weren't legal in the beginning, you know what I mean? So what was the process of getting established as an actual business and stuff? Like,
so I think, during the Prop 215 days, everybody was selling weed. Like,
what is that, Prop 215?
It's just a set of rules, I guess, for medicinal cannabis that was put in place so that collectives could operate as a dispensary for their members. Yeah. So it was a lot. It was very, very lenient as far as what you could do with those limits. There were no limits as far as how much you could carry. So yeah, the good old 215 days. But what set our company apart from everybody that was doing it was I figured out how to get a seller's permit and actually incorporate a company and get a seller's permit. Everybody else that was operating during Prop 215, they were just, growing shit in the backyard and then, just selling that. But I think through my work experience, I was working as a QA tech. I kind of, had a different eye as far as like products. Right. And I noticed that a lot of people, they were just, what they would do is just put their weed in the bag and then make the transaction. But I had a different optic as far as like being sealed, how is the packaging, and tamper evident,
Oh, right. All that. 'Cause that's what you was dealing with at your job.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I figured out how to get the seller's permit, and I was able to do business with big companies or quote unquote big companies, as far as their products like vape pens. So I was able to get, because I figured out how to get that seller's permit. I gained access to a shitload of different vendors as far as products, and those products were blowing everybody out of the water here in the valley. I remember I used to go out to the events out in LA and High Life. There's a High Times too. There was a shitload of events that had everybody together and everybody did business. So I would bring that to where they didn't have it. So all those products that were popping in LA, I would bring them to
brought it out here. Yeah.
So that's how it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so now I'm thinking about it, how was your transition into growing, and then now you're distributing these big brands and stuff like that? And was it hard to develop these relationships? And that's a big change, just from that everybody's out here growing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, or at one point it was like that, I remember everybody I knew, but what made you like, what, let me get with these other companies and distribute what they're doing?
I think it just came back to the different optic that I had. I was lucky enough to work in a lab where I did a lot of lab tests on products, on dairy products, and it gave me a different optic to where I couldn't see products in general the same.
Right.
Expiration dates and just lot numbers. That was where that change originated from.
Yeah.
Just having a different perspective on products.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's big. And you mentioned, I know I did a job with you out in the Hall of Flowers. Was it the Hall of Flowers?
Hall of Flowers. Yep.
Yeah, it kind of gave me a glimpse of the culture of everything. And then, I'll ride up there and you was kind of breaking it down a lot about the culture. And do you think the culture is still strong within it, or is it something that's faded now that corporate's coming into play, or how is that looking?
It hasn't gone away, but it's very, very small now.
Yeah.
It's the arena has definitely changed. Shit's fucking cheap as fuck.
Yeah.
Which is it's not good whenever you're competing with even cheaper shit in the street.
Right.
So I think the people that are the legacy brands are either companies that come from it all comes from what's happening within. You know what I mean? What's happening within those companies as far as their owners, employees, etc.
Right.
Are they working on themselves, or are they the drug dealers that are falling off? So I think it hasn't gone away, but it's definitely it's getting smaller.
Getting
for sure.
small, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And because that's just how the industry works, man. Once it becomes, and I let you know that it's about to become probably. How long would you say legal on a federal level?
Hopefully not soon, man.
Not soon?
Yeah, hopefully not soon.
Because that just brings in more competitors, or why'd you say that?
Taxes. There's going to be different taxes that are, customers are going to be seeing. And more regulations. I can see more regulations happening.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think if it becomes federally legalized, it's a good thing. And through experience as far as us seeing what regulation is, throughout the change of Prop 64 or 215 to 64, shit's all fucked up.
Wow.
And I think it was done by design.
Yeah.
So whenever I hear federally legalized, I'm like, oh shit, this shit again. So
right.
Because it's you never know what's gonna be inside that box once it becomes.
Once it opens up,
Yeah.
Pandora's box opens.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
But,
So those legacy brands are the ones you saying that started from the jump, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so those legacy brands that were growing, I would imagine that they're probably suffering the worst, that were like growers and stuff like that, because of you got these bigger industries coming into play, and probably not that too profitable to grow unless you already. What would you say?
When somebody has talent, you're going to make your money regardless, whether it's in the legal space or not. I think people that have talent as far as growing, whether they sell it in a system where it's traced, or they're going to sell it in a system where it's not traced, and they're making bigger margins on it. So I think those growers haven't gone away. I think there's a lot of there's still a lot of room.
Yeah.
I think we just don't see them because they're not mainstreamed, because of lack of license.
Right.
But it's there's still talent out there.
Yeah.
For sure.
One thing I was impressed with talking with you was the safety of the products. You told me something about like I forgot how you named it, but it was a time before all these safety measures was into play. And cause that's always, I had a close friend that died through laced, cannabis.
Right.
And so that always was a concern. Like when I seen it, I was like, no, like I don't even want to look at that no more. You know what I mean? But when we were, you was explaining how it all is, the process that they have to go through to make it right and all. I was like, wow, I was really impressed with that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So through Prop 64, there's good things and bad things that came about it.
Yeah.
Definitely shitty for business as far as like the mom and pop shops.
Mm-hmm.
New regulations, all that good stuff. But on the other side, the safety measures that comes along with it, those are the pros of the change. So with every single product that we receive, we're getting a history through that metric tag of where that product originated from down to the seed.
Right.
And in order for us to receive that product, we have to also receive the COAs, Certificate of Analysis. And we pretty much, with that, we know this product has been tested for, pesticides and all kinds of different things that the plant is tested for whenever it's given the okay to be sold. So
right.
Yeah,
I think that's really good. But like how you said, there's some bad things that come with it too. But
yeah,
it's still moving. I feel like it's still moving forward though. We have to go through these growing pains to get to the next level.
Yeah.
Because I feel like cannabis gets such a bad rap. From past dealings. Every movie, there was a drug dealer, and there was, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot of friends, a lot of people, that were locked up for, cannabis and stuff, and now, you're seeing how it's switching,
Mm-hmm.
and then all these companies that are coming in and swooping up, and it's just like, hold up, just 15 years ago, it was a whole different story,
Yeah.
And it's just really amazing to see. I was watching this YouTube video by, I think it was CBC, and they were talking about how they're trying to appeal to women that drink wine, right? And so their goal is to make this the new, not go home and drink wine, but they're trying to get away from the stoners to.
Mm-hmm.
Please, attracting these women to like, hey, I'm just gonna smoke me it's in a sleek covering and all that, and that's how I get my. I was like, wow, that's amazing, like how
it changed.
It just super.
It's
just
crazy.
changed. It's crazy, man.
I think it's funny during the let's say a year, 2 years before the pandemic, everybody was it was a new thing, and then during the pandemic, it was an essential business. It was considered an essential business. So it's great. It's funny to see the way.
Wait, hold up. It was considered essential. You said?
Yeah. Only certain businesses were allowed to, go out and do business during the pandemic.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just remember all the fucking memes and shit they were putting out. It's crazy to see the transition and the change. Everybody's, they're it's coming to light, because cannabis is not. It's not a. Alcohol is definitely more dangerous than cannabis,
right,
by far.
Right.
So it's now mainstream. It's now there's light being shed on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And anything you do in excess is going to harm you, right?
Absolutely.
And it's all about moderation.
Yeah.
And with alcohol, we see the effects of alcohol, how many people are dying from it, how bad it is to the body, and everything, like I said, would be bad if you use it in excess like that. So, yeah, I think that is definitely unfair how the light was shed on it before. Yeah. And but we see it changing little by little,
Yeah. Yeah, slowly but surely, man. It's cannabis just puts you in a state of mind where you're in I don't know, whenever you're in the moment. So it's not like like liquor and shit where it's like you. It's different.
I think all of them affect people different, because when I have a day off, which is very rare, but when it's just like, oh, we don't have the kids, or we get a day off, like the next day I ain't got to worry about nothing. Yeah. I have to either drink something or, smoke something or something to get my mind off of business. Yeah. Off of worrying. That's so I can be, like how you said, in the moment. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. We have to use these things for enjoyment and not excess, like, oh, I can't. I know people that just can't go a day without smoking. You know what I mean? The same thing with drinking, and that's when it's bad. That's when it's bad for yourself, for your body, for your mind, for your family, for everything. Yeah. But it's also good. Like I said, without it, I wouldn't even be able to enjoy a lot of the times that me and my wife can enjoy ourselves. I'd be thinking, oh, I gotta do this. Oh, I gotta do that. Oh, I got no. Like I do that. It's chill. I'm in the moment. We have a great time. We laugh. We that, and that's what we should use these things for. When you out and about and you're at a nice event and stuff, like, you want to be in the moment, man. You don't want to be thinking about problems and thinking,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's a lot of medical benefits. Mm-hmm. We haven't even dove into that, Yeah. Do you guys sell any medical?
Yeah, we sell CBD products as well. That's the healing component in cannabis. We do have creams. We have a long range of medicinal products as well.
Where do you see the future of the industry? Say within the next 10 years. What do you foresee?
Next 10 years, I foresee the big boys coming in. And I see, the pharmaceutical industry coming in. I would say it's going to look like Canada, how it is. It became federally legalized there. And, it's not you could tell there's no culture within that space once it's it's regulated to even higher extent where
is it a good thing or a bad? What's the good of not having culture, and what's the bad of not having the culture?
I think it's bad just because of how it started, where everybody was going to jail at first for this. Yeah. And at the end of the line, big corporations are the ones that are profiting. But what happened to everybody that was put in jail whenever, all the upbringing of the growth of the industry. Yeah. So that's why I think it's bad, but it's just like any other industry, you know what I mean? Like alcohol, for example. There's only a handful of brands that you think you think beer, and there's only a handful of beers that come up to mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think in a few years, that's how cannabis is going to be.
Yeah.
You hear cannabis, and there's going to be a handful of brands that you think about.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. So, I want to pick your brain a little, man, because first of all, the crowd doesn't know is that you're a young man, right? Another thing is that he is very, very successful. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get your insights on a couple of things. You know what I mean? Like, what would you say is your favorite part about being an entrepreneur?
Well, first of all, myself, I don't feel successful. Right. I feel like there's still a long way to go.
Yes.
It's a hunger that's never going to be filled.
Right.
So I think there's still more.
Yeah, definitely.
And then what was your second question? Sorry.
What is your favorite part about being an entrepreneur?
Freedom, for sure.
Freedom.
Yeah. As an entrepreneur, you're the director of your own movie. Your destiny is in your hands.
Yeah.
So as an entrepreneur, we're in charge of molding and creating the ideal life that we want to have. Yeah. But you can't. I don't know. It's the freedom to be able to do that. Yeah. Without having any limits. I hate limits.
Yeah.
You can't do this. It's like, nah, watch me. You know what I mean?
Right.
You tell me no, okay, no with you, but let's go try somewhere else. You gotta get somewhere else.
Talk that shit, Juan. Go ahead, talk that shit, bro.
For real, man.
Hell yeah.
That's from the get. We've gotten so many no's, so many places, and it only takes one yes to open a door, and now you go knocking on more doors and go get more no's, and then until you find the next yes, and then same shit. And
that takes away from my next question, because I was going to say, what was the hardest part? But that right there, how many people out there that start something, they hear one no and they stop?
Yeah.
The world's crushed because somebody didn't like something.
Yeah.
You just said it right here that it didn't matter. You just knock on the next door. Okay,
it's a numbers game. Door. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just got to knock on more doors. That's it. You got to go fail more times. That's it.
That's big right there, man.
Yeah.
Who are... do you have any role models in your personal life? And it can be somebody that, maybe somebody you look up to on YouTube or podcast or.
I would say, I say it because even when I was, I used to drive to Saputo to work. I would go an hour early. I was living in Orange Cove and driving to Larry every day. Right. So that's a good 40-minute commute. But I would leave an hour early just to be able to listen to books, audiobooks, and podcasts. And I still remember when Andy Frisella started his podcast. It kind of started off rocky. The sound was fucked up.
Yeah.
But the information that was given out, it was there were gold nuggets.
Wow.
And so there was definitely times where shit wasn't going, in the direction, it wasn't going my way. But whenever I was hearing, this podcast saying, "Hey, this is it's part of it,"
Yeah.
You're not gonna always get your shit your way. You just gotta stay in, just keep moving forward. Just and there was a lot of gold nuggets as far as like employees.
Yeah.
And I'm in my early 20s just listening to this information. So I think he's definitely
what was his name?
Andy Frisella.
Frisella, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of him. I gotta definitely check him out.
Yeah. He's to this day, now it's changed a little bit more. It's on the political side, but I still sometimes go back to those podcasts to where it's like certain situations, you just gotta get that refresh, as far as that information, how to deal with people, as far as employees, just it's definitely a lot of information, and you can always, I always go back and if I'm going through something, that I'll go back to that podcast that touched base on that, and just kind of put shit in perspective and kind of move from there, grow from there, from that. Yeah.
What was so? Is there like one? I know you mentioned one book earlier, but if you can, give a young Juan 2 books that would change his life, what would you say that is?
Shit, that depends. I think Relentless by Tim Grover is a very good one. And then 10X by Grant Cardone is another good one.
Okay.
Yeah, those two, will definitely, that will pump you up and, just kind of get you on that grind mode, you know what I mean? So, but I say that depends because that, on what state, because it's, if you're trying to, get after it, that's one, that one section of the books. But if you're trying to, learn about yourself and like, there's a, third circle theory, the magic of thinking big.
Right. I see what
the
you're saying.
The law of attraction. It just depends on where.
If you need to get your mind right, those are those. But if you need that, you need that motivation that just to give you that, that's the other.
Exactly.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But those two are pretty good books right there. But if opening your mind, it's third circle theory for sure, and the magic of thinking big.
I haven't heard of that one either.
Yeah, that one's a good one.
What would you say is in the industry, since a lot of people are concerned, I still hear talk about it. It's ridiculous. But is there anything that you would say? We know the good things, right? That's the CBD. What's some other good things that you would say about the industry? Maybe about the money it brings and that helps change things. And
I think it's definitely the ability to create a job. It's that's something that it's good to see.
Yeah.
For example, whenever we're working on X location and or X license, and to us it's just grind. We're gonna achieve this, and then couple months later, couple weeks later, you look back and oh shit, there's a position there. There's somebody working. There's work that's being done. You employed somebody. Somebody's eating. They're feeding their families with the hard work that you put in the beginning. And I think that's one. And that's not just in the cannabis industry, but in business in general.
Right.
I think that's a very, very good part of business. In the cannabis industry, it just kind of goes hand in hand in business. I would say that's just the growth to see how the industry is evolving and how we can, participate during that growth. So
I think that's major what you said. That's the heart of a leader, to provide for everybody, man. That means you're a good leader right there, man.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, man. So, there's a couple more questions we got, but we're going to take a little break and then we'll be back. And we'll be back.
Oh, yeah.